Let's talk about the Memphis Grizzlies.
Kenny Lofton Jr. is so cool.
That
guy's so cool. There's that mix of him cooking it up in the summer league, and then it'll like pan or cut to draw, and he's like loving it. Ooh, a cheeseburger sounds good.
You ready to see Kenneth Lofton in a movie?
As a joke, yeah.
I mean, this isn't Kenneth Lofton.
What movie is that from?
Shark Tales. Yes. Are you ready? You see this? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's close, I guess.
It's pretty fucking close, isn't it? Someone's gonna say I'm an asshole. So what I find, I've said this before, what I find interesting about this roster is Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to miss the first months of, 2 or 3 months of the season with that stress fracture, which will, I think, Santi Aldama, Xavier Tillman, Jake LaRavia, and I guess Brandon Clark and Kelly and Tilly are all going to have the opportunity, and even David Roddy, to play some, I guess you could say the power forward and center position, because I feel like they're also going to kind of phase out Steven Adams depending on the matchup. Like, I don't think Steven Adams will play as much.
Makes sense.
Okay, let me hear your thoughts on this team. What's your starting lineup?
Kenny Lofton.
I don't think they're going to play Kenny Lofton. He's on a two-way. They have Jake LaRavia, Xavier Tillman, Brandon Clark, and Santi Aldama. Multiple first-round picks from previous seasons. Kenny Lofton's undrafted. Again, injuries would have to happen for Lofton to play.
He'll work his way into the rotation. What's like my starting lineup? Oh,
without Jaren Jackson Jr. because he's hurt.
Oh, yeah, I guess Jod, Bain, Brooks, probably.
I think they were going to try out Aldama or Brandon Clark, but I think they'd rather try out Aldama over Clark, because if you put Clark out there, Adams and Clark both can't shoot.
I'm a little different. I'd probably put in like Zaire Williams and Brandon Clark at the 5. Just go extremely small. I don't want to watch Steven Adams play basketball.
I think whenever they face teams like a Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic or Rudy Gobert, that's the nights that Steven Adams will start. But when they face a team like the Clippers maybe, or a team like the Dallas Mavericks, or a team like the Suns, when they take DeAndre Ayton off the floor, I could see them, starting Brandon Clark while Jaren Jackson Jr. is out. I just think they really need to check out Santi Aldama. He can shoot it. I mean, he was dominating in the summer league. He's 226 pounds. He's almost 7 foot. He can hit shots from all over the floor. He can pass. He can shoot. I just think I love Brandon Clark, but there's no jump shot there. Xavier Tillman, they've kind of phased him out. I want to hear, Grizzlies fans, what are your thoughts on Xavier Tillman? He looked really good his rookie year, but since then, not much. And then there's Jake LaRavia, who's a guy who can do a little bit of everything analytically. If you're that type of team that's an analytically driven, Jake LaRavia is perfect, but he kind of struggled in the summer league, and that's why I think Santi should start. They gave him he was the first round pick a year ago.
I wish this team did something more for me. They're probably going to play super deep again. You got guys like John Conchar and LaRavia and Tillman getting consistent play, even if it's 10-15 a night. I don't know. I really don't see this season. Just comes down completely to Triple J. to me.
When I look at this team, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys. If you don't count Jaren Jackson Jr. and Danny Green, because Danny Green, if they keep him on the roster, he won't be able to play till the end of the year because he's recovering from the torn ACL, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is probably going to be out till December or January with that stress fracture. So they're like 7 or 8 guys deep only if you don't count any of the rookies or the young, the super young guys. So they're only 7 or 8 deep with the injuries. That's why I think Santi Aldama and like Zaire Williams need to play, because I think Xavier Tillman and Kelly Tilly are more depth guys than actual players at this point. They would have played these two last year more.
I think Tillman, Zaire especially, Jake, they'll all get playing time and it'll all be consistent. I don't know how they bundle all their minutes every night, but they do a good job of it. And I think team-wise, they're still pretty good. I think they're way ahead of schedule. Like, I think they'll have a huge step-back season, but it won't be a step back in the grand scheme of things because I don't think they had any business doing what they did last season. I think you give the Memphis Grizzlies that season 10 times. I think 9 out of 10 times that season does not happen the way it did. And so I think they'll probably go back to probably 5 or 6 to me in the West.
You think they'll fall?
And yeah, they'll get booted in the first round, and then hopefully they decide to trade some type of a package deal where.
Well, I could see during the season where they package Danny Green and like Dylan Brooks for somebody, or Danny Green and Steven Adams.
Yeah. What sucks is like Brooks and Bain are huge for him. Like Brooks is good, really solid two-way basketball player.
He's a bit inefficient. And I think that's why they're trying to phase Dylan Brooks, whose contract is expiring, out for Zaire Williams or another guy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're definitely hoping Zaire can like
replace.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. Replace right away. And if they could get rid of Dylan Brooks, yeah.
And then the same thing, I believe, with Steven Adams. Steven Adams' contract is expiring, so I think it's in their best interest to start figuring out if, Aldama, Clark, Tillman, LaRavia, Lofton, Roddy, if they can replace Steven Adams. Like, I think everyone loves Steven Adams, but they couldn't play him most games in the playoffs. So I think that he's going to be a guy who only plays situationally. And they're going to, especially with the Jaren Jackson Jr., they'll take I think during the regular season, they'll take a hit record-wise because they won't be fully healthy for a while. But that could also not happen if I'm very high on Aldama. I thought he was the steal of the draft. And the Jaren Jackson Jr. injury could be a blessing in disguise because, again, it'll open up the minutes for how many guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys will now be competing to make up for the Jaren Jackson Jr. minutes, which is, people don't realize, last year Jaren Jackson Jr. played 27.3 minutes, which is absurd. Jaren Jackson Jr. has never averaged more than 30 minutes a night. So 27 minutes between 70 guys. So obviously not all 7 of those guys are going to play, but that's why I have my money on Aldama, Clark, and Tillman to be the 3 guys who get the most playing time. And if any of the rookies, I think LaRavia will be the one because he was the 19th overall pick.
Yeah, so I think, I just have a feeling that all their young guys, like, I think Jake, Kennedy, Vincent, I just think like these guys are just going to produce immediately just because it's the Memphis Grizzlies. My thing with, I don't think, like, Jaren, Jaren almost established himself as, like, the best defensive playoff, or one of the best defensive.
But he can't stay healthy. It's always been a theme of his.
Yeah,
and he's never got it. He hasn't returned to the 3-point shooter he was the first 2 seasons.
I don't even know if he can't stay healthy. He played 78 games this past year. That's pretty healthy to me.
And now he's hurt.
What?
And then he, as soon as the season ended, he announced
Yeah, he gets hurt, and then the year before that, he played like what,
11
games.
games.
So.
Before that, he played 57. Before that, he played 58.
That's hovering right around. That's okay to me. Like as long as you don't do that for 4 straight years. But
I mean, he's only 23. He's going into year 5, and he's about to be turned 23 in like 3
he's
weeks.
one of the most talented young players at his position. So I think it's, to me, it's just more so getting more pieces there, another star there. I don't know how they're gonna do that. I don't know if it'll be a free agency, but I don't think Steven Adams or Dylan Brooks. I think you'd have to get rid of Bane and Zaire to get some type of star that's going to get you a championship. I don't think there's any way, shape, or form Memphis can win a championship right now.
I don't know if they can make a championship, but I think they can continue where they were and what they made to the second round last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can make it to the second round again.
They shouldn't have gotten out of the first round, but that's my opinion.
Who they beat? The T-Wolves?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That T-Wolves, D-Lo threw that away.
D-Lo averaged like 7 points a game on like 20% shooting.
D-Lo threw that.
Handed it over.
Yeah, handed that over. We were literally playing Jordan McLaughlin, an undrafted free agent from like 2 years ago, as our point guard. We benched D-Lo. I mean, we tried to trade D-Lo, and everyone was like, we're good.